Okay, peace be with you.
So with you.
So good to be here, to have you online, and also here present. But did you hear? Something incredible is happening at the Winter Olympics 2026 in Italy. You hear about Diana Stellato Dudek? Yes, you know all about her, yes. So she's about to compete. Now, she and her partner were the 2024 World Champions and the 2025 Canadian National Champions. But the part of the story that is so hopeful to me, did you hear how old she is? Figure skating. She gets thrown up into the air, she does backflips, spins, competing on the world stage. She's 42. She's like twice the age, or more than twice the age of most of her competitors. An ancient age of 42. Can you imagine? How can anyone have to have a walker to get around? And there she is flipping on the ice and spinning around. And she did suffer a horrible fall a few weeks ago. The doctors almost had to tell he couldn't compete. But she worked through that. She's been getting up the last few years, 6 a.m. every morning, skating for hours. She says she hasn't had a martini in 8 years. She has a one cheat day a month where she allows herself a little bit of chocolate. Who here could do that? So hopefully we'll see her compete later today, Deanna and Maxine at the Olympics. And what a moment of glory that will be in the Italian Alps overseas. Last week, as some of you know, I had the honor, the privilege, the blessing of attending a few events at those same Winter Olympics in Italy. We could not afford the seats for figure skating, but we could afford the seats where you stand in the snow and you watch other events happening, and it was a blessing. It was incredible. The figure skating seats is like the price of a small car, but in the snow, it was incredible to see cross-country ski, women's skiathlon, ski jump. They looked like flying squirrels coming down on you. We just always applauded when they landed and didn't crash. And then the biathlon, which was overwhelmingly popular. I didn't know how popular biathlon was. And it was just, if you see on the front here we are, we're cheering on, this is Les Bleus, or if I pronounce it properly, is it Allez Les Bleus, like Go Blues, or Go France, because they had just won the gold medal in the mixed men's and women 4x6 kilometer biathlon, which is an incredible feat for anybody just to make it through once. And we got to be just standing in the snow. Sometimes we are just a few feet away from the world's best athletes, like skiing up, accelerating, going uphill on these ski courses. And then it was just, it was very inspiring to be there. When the French team won, these four people that were pictured with on the bulletin, they were so excited. We said, we had to introduce ourselves to them. They said, take a picture with us. These are four college students from Lyon, France. They came down just to see their team. They came down on the train just for this one event. They had to go back the next morning for classes in college on the train. They were not going to sleep that night, just head on back. And they were just so excited. We got to know them a bit. We were all on Strava. We exchanged Strava things. We were keeping up with each other. And so I have to say, it is we were cheering together. People from all nations gathered together, cheering each other on a mountaintop. Now, that was an incredible mountaintop experience. So at the Olympics, this is the vision I had. This is a glimpse of how the world could be. People from all nations gathered together, cheering each other on. In our Bible reading today, we also have this vision of how the world can be. We're given a glimpse. The disciples and we are given a glimpse of how the world could be. People from all nations gathered together in peace and harmony, cheering each other on to follow in the way of love, the way that we've identified through Jesus, the way of love of neighbor, encouraging each other to listen to him, to follow the God's way of love. So who is Jesus talking with on the mountaintop? He's having a conversation. Who's he talking with? Elijah and Moses. Who are they? Prophet. Moses is Elijah is like the number one prophet. This is very important. And Moses is the number one leader. Patriarch. These are all wonderful words. He was on a mountaintop. He talked with God. He came down with something. Commandments. So we get the law from God. It comes through Moses to the people. The vision and the hope of God calling people back to justice comes through Elijah. So these are like the most important people ever. In the people of God, the faithful people of God, the people of Israel, they have the number one lawgiver, someone who actually saw God and brought down the law so we could follow the 10 Commandments and love our neighbor. And then the number one prophet who, once again, calls people back when they're slipping away, when they're not loving their neighbor, calls them back to practice the fruits of love and justice. So these are really important people. So if you see Jesus talking to them, it's like, maybe we should listen to Jesus. He's really important. He's an important person. It would be a little bit like if you saw me up here suddenly, transformed white, and I was talking, let's say, with Martin Luther King Jr. and Mother Teresa. You're like, what is going on? Pastor Eric's having a conversation with these important people? Maybe we should actually listen to Pastor Eric. Maybe he has something important to say. It's just in all dazzling white. And remember, Moses, when he saw God on the mountain, the glory of seeing God was so bright. When he talked to the people right afterwards, he had to wear a veil in front because the bright. You don't want to blind the people. And Elijah, why is Elijah associated with blazing white? He's not on a mountaintop like the way Moses was. Something came down. Elijah is one of the people in the Bible who never died. How did he not die? Chariots of fire came down and took him up there, blazing white. So there we are, the blazing white glory of Elijah, chariots of fire, the blazing white glory of Moses, having seen God face to face, and with Jesus. Listen to him. Maybe Jesus really has something to say associated with these incredibly important people. And now maybe perhaps remember humble Pastor Eric on that mountaintop, all that snow behind me, blazing white glory. But that's the whole point of the story. Listen to him. Listen to him. Listen to Jesus. Listen to Jesus. This is my son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him. Listen to him, this Jesus who walked with both the poor and the rich. Listen to him, this Jesus who treated women as the equal of men, a radical thing at the time, maybe even today. And the early Bible records how many of the early house churches were led by women. By women. If you read your Bible, you will know how they were treated. Listen to this Jesus who broke the law to offer forgiveness to sinners, who broke the law to give people a second chance, who broke the law to allow people to come back into community. Listen to him. Listen to this Jesus who called out the state when it crushed the poor, when it ripped off people, when it killed and deported people. That's why Jesus was killed. He was a threat to the state. Listen to him. Listen to him. Advocating for God's love and justice, for the stranger, for the weak. In the week before, I traveled to these Olympic Games in the Italian Alps. I reached out to my friend Jonathan Runman, and I listened to him. You, in a way, listened to him also this morning. He wrote that song, Glory in the Highest. It's a wonderful song, and now I used to be with him and other musicians at various concerts, but now he is a pastor at Shepherd of the Lake Lutheran Church. He's one of 5 pastors at one church in Minneapolis. And so I called him up and I said, Jonathan, how are you? What is happening in Minneapolis? And I said, tell me, what is going on? And Jonathan told me a lot, but basically he was saying how proud he was of the state of Minnesota for being strong, and just how, in the response of the people of faith, bringing food to those who were so scared, so anxious they could not go out, ferrying children back and forth that were not white so that they would be safe and the parents would not be picked up. And also, he's telling me how the people are living in fear, especially after the killing of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. But Jonathan said, if anything, the people of Minnesota, especially the people of faith, are even more emboldened and courageous right now. He said thousands of people sing. They sing about love. How do we love our neighbor? And outside and inside. Minnesota has some large churches, and his church is 5,000 people, and they sing these songs of love, and people off the street come in to sing. And he said, and instead of living in fear now, instead of having the anxiety keep them cowed and down, you have, he said, one thing that ICE never counted on, at least the way that ICE is being directed there right now. ICE never took into account, he said, old church ladies with the big floppy hats. They had no idea what they were up against. This is what Pastor Jonathan Rumman is telling me. He said, it's the people, I said people with walkers, canes, on the street, gathering together. ICE didn't have a chance against that. It's just incredible. I mean, it's still going on. The struggle's still very much there. But this was not something that people that wanted to intimidate others counted on. The people of faith walking or gathering and singing about how do we love our neighbor. An incredible force. Incredible force. He said he was so proud to be in Minneapolis, so proud to be a pastor there, so filled with faith and hope, watching these people again and again loving their neighbor. How do we love our neighbor? These people of faith are unstoppable because they're listening to him. That's why they're unstoppable. 2 days ago, we had our first Friday, actually second Friday service, and the children sang. We had 16 and then one joined our last. We had 17 children sing again about God's love and following God's ways of love and justice. And then in the message, I shared with them a passage from Hebrews, because we've had Olympics and Valentine's Day all wrapped up into one. And we were, Grace was a wonderful volunteer who was hurt on the ground. We had to help her practice this love of neighbor. So we had this heart, and we had a relay race, like bringing the heart over to Grace and bringing God's love. And the children, one by one, were bringing it over, and we're cheering them on, because that verse from Hebrews is talking about running the race of faith. And when you run the race of faith, people are in the stands. The people of faith from the past are cheering you on as you do works of love, as you do works of compassion. People and are in the stands from the present, cheering you on. People from the future are cheering you on. And we cheered on the youth as they ran across, bringing the heart to pour Grace, and it worked. Grace was able to recover and stand up. And as we cheered on those children, and when I could see our children running this race of faith that we're modeling for them, that they are modeling for us, and I remember how also they were so eager to make sandwiches for the outdoor church, so eager to help others. They want to do this. This love of God is touching some amazing things in them and in us. And when I see our children running this race, I'm transported to that mountaintop. And I am again at the Winter Olympics in Italy, seeing the amazing athletes. I am again with Jesus, Moses, Elijah, and I'm glimpsing how the world can be when I see that race. When I have that glimpse of the mountaintop, how the world really can be. People of all nations gathered together, cheering each other on to follow the way of love, encouraging each other to listen to Him, follow the way of God's love through Jesus. What a mountaintop experience. Thanks be to God.